I'm on my way to Salem, New York to visit with artist Margaret Jacobs. Let's go.
I am Akwesasne Mohawk, and I am a metalsmith who makes powder-coated jewelry and fabricated steel sculpture. I started off with painting and mixed media, and I just never quite got what I wanted to get out of it. And then I was introduced to welding, and it just felt like a natural fit. That was the media I was meant to be using. I really was able to do everything that I wanted to do. And then there's this whole other historical layer to the material, just with Mohawk iron workers building skyscrapers. So I really like the fact that my community also has a relationship to this material, as well as myself as an artist. So I like that layering, and I tend to layer that in the work as well. I was introduced to jewelry with a friend, and she showed me how to powder coat, and it just felt like it would give me the opportunity to explore a couple different paths in my work. So the sculpture is great, doing larger things, I can move quickly. With the jewelry, I feel like I can explore a little bit similar concepts, but in a little different way. So I can work on a smaller scale, it's a little bit easier physically. I can play with color in a way that I don't with the steel. And then it really just engages the viewer in a different way. The viewer, the person wearing it, can really have this more intimate relationship with the jewelry. They're wearing it, they're interacting with it, it's on their body. What I do is I create different patterns from imagery, primarily botanicals. I'll draw and I'll create all of these patterns and then hand cut those out of brass. And then I'm going to take those over to my torch and I will solder those together so that I have a finished object. You get this flat image of a botanical that has a little bit of form to it. Over top of that, I will powder coat on different colors, different layers, different textures, so that you wind up with this surface that's either really colorful or really matte. It can have texture that looks like leather, or it can be really gemmy and carry a lot of different color layering in it as well. I've always been really interested in material use, and just like material shift. You know, can you make one thing look like another thing? I have a couple pieces that I'm using this texture that looks like leather. So I can create this thing out of metal, and then I can coat it, and then it pretty much looks like black leather. When you look at it, you're like, well, that's not really supposed to be like that. That shouldn't look soft. It shouldn't look organic. It's going to pull the viewer in more, and they're going to spend more time with the object. They're going to spend more time looking at it. They're going to create more of a relationship with it. When I'm creating my work, I like there to be layers of narratives, layers of storytelling. So if I'm looking at a specific plant or botanical, it's because there's layer of narrative in that. There might be historical story, there might be familial, might be personal story, but there is all this layering. So right now in my jewelry, I'm doing a lot of berries. I'm using a lot of strawberries, and as well as blueberries and blackberries. Strawberries are really important culturally. I have a lot of stories in memory that remind me of my grandmother and spending summers on her land in Akwesasne. So having those layers of storytelling within the work, even if the viewer doesn't necessarily know what's happening, is really important to me. Right now what I'm working on is kind of taking these flat jewelry forms that I've been making and creating them more into objects and in the round. And I just finished a a couple pieces that are really exploring that, and I think that's really what I'm gravitating to right now and where I kind of want to see my path continuing.